looking forward to this. All right. Well, good morning and welcome to Brekkie with the Guy Who Sews. My name is Sean. If you haven't been here before, and if you are new, welcome. It's always good to have everybody here, whether you're new or been here since the very beginning. And I am super excited to have my very special guest. She's been on here a couple of times before. I'm one of her biggest fans. It is none other than Fallon from Sew Be It Quilts. So do you want to say good morning, Fallon, to everybody? And
hi, good morning. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be back on Sean's channel. Sorry, my dog's up here and he heard noise, so he came over. He thought it's for him. Hi.
Yeah, luckily my dogs, this is the time of the day that they like to sleep. They get up, they have their breakfast, and then they just kind of pass out for the next 3 hours. So this is one of the reasons I have my live at 8 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. So yeah, very, very glad. I do see them in the background. That's cute. We always love having doggos on the channel here. So for anyone that has not subscribed to Fallon or seen her videos, you are definitely missing out. So definitely head over there afterwards and check it out. It's !Fallon, sorry, I can't spell. I need more coffee apparently. Fallon. So !Fallon in the chat, and you'll be able to get her channel link. But yeah, you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself for anyone that might be new, what you do on your YouTube channel and all the other cool projects you're up to.
Oh man, so how much time do we have now?
Well, you have another live at 10, so we need to get off just a hair before that so you can prep for that one.
No, so my name's Fallon. So I am a mother and a wife. I have 2 kids that I homeschool and a husband. He is amazing. He is an attorney, and then he also is a professor, and then he works for me. I'm going to say for me on here on my video, I'm going to say with me, but no, so I quilt, and on my channel, I do a lot of tutorials and unboxings and reviews. And then we also launched a business where we manufacture the quilter slide lock all in-house. So we are very busy.
Oh, for sure. And one of the things I love about your channel, and you talked about the reviews and so forth, is that you review a lot of items like your rulers and different subscription boxes and everything else. And you are always very, very kind, but you are also very, very honest. And that's one of the things that I know I really appreciate, because there's so many options out there and not everything is suitable for every quilter. But yeah, you explain what you like about it and why it is or is not for you. You never go out and bash a product necessarily, which is good, because you know these people put a lot of heart and soul into their products. And what might not work for you might work very, very well for someone else. And you always make a really, really good point to say, hey, this didn't work for me, but it may work for this reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very important.
I think it is too. And that's why I like watching other people's reviews, because you can get other perspectives on what might work for a product and what might not. And we all learn a different way. We all like to do things a different way. So one, like say half square triangle trimmer may make absolutely no sense for me for whatever reason it is. And I struggle to use it, but I try to be very clear on what I didn't like about it, so that people know, well, that actually I really like about it. And I think it'll work for me. And, you know, I think that's important.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I have not done a lot of reviews. I do need to do a review on a product fairly soon. But I mean, I've drawn a lot of inspiration from you because just of how your style is. And, you know, like for that reason, like, you know, like, does it work for me? Maybe, maybe not. But, you know, just it's always got to work for somebody. No one's going to put out a product that isn't going to work for anybody. But yeah, the product I need to review soon is this handy dandy little thing. Familiar?
Yes, where'd you get that? No, I was telling you before we went live that I saw Holly's review of it, and it just made me so happy this morning. And I know, you know, honestly, I know everybody is not going to love it, and that's okay. I understand that. But I really think there's a lot of value to it for different reasons. So hopefully, you know, when more reviews get out there, people can see if it will work for them or not. Because I know it is a lot of money to invest in it. But I mean, it's all made here and we're making them. Like, I have put effort into making it. My husband has, even my kids have helped with different parts of it. So it's, definitely a labor of love from us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'll do a full review video on it later. But I mean, I've used it a handful of times already, and it's well worth the price that you pay for it because it just doesn't move.
Yeah.
You know, we aren't here to talk just about that today. That was not the intention. So if you got here and you're worried about it being a hour and a half long advertisement for the quilt lock,
No, it won't be. I have quilting to do too.
me too. If you're on the fence about it, get off the fence. Save your money, go over and buy one. They are well worth the money, and they're coming out with a shorter version fairly soon as well. And I want to get my hands on one of those as well because it'd be fun to have something a little smaller as well as the big one. The big one's great for yardage.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so let's say good evening and good morning to everybody because we do have some folks here from Australia. Let me scroll back up towards the top. I saw Stephen Bland and Idiot Quilter was here this morning. He's actually heading up to Halifax next week for Quilt Canada. I would have loved to have gone up there myself, but just wasn't in the cards, unfortunately. Rachel Rice is here. Fallon is here, yeah, obviously. Janine, good morning. Good morning, Pasita. Russ from Quilt Meets World is here. If you haven't checked out his channel, he has a wonderful vlog each week. Let's see who else is here. I think it's Lisa from Awkward Quilter, Georgia. Pasita, we've already said. Janine. Shannon from Slate Arts is here. If you haven't met her, check her channel out as well. It's !Shannon. Good evening, Jan from Australia. It's always good to see you. We have a celebrity in the house, none other than Sew Becca. And I think you're doing a collab with her fairly soon, correct?
Yes, yeah. I think, and I'm sorry, Becca, I just saw you in. I think it's the 10th. I could be wrong. I have it written down somewhere, I promise, and I am ready for it. But I'm horrible with dates and names.
And my good friend Christine, I always like to call her my enabler because she's the one that actually introduced me to Art East and the Mythical Darksons quilt. And that's just been a lot of fun. And they're getting ready to release the new quilt along, I think, to the events tonight. I'm super excited to see what those guys have got coming up for us this week too. Kathleen Champ is here. Good morning. Wow, she's in California, so she's up early to watch us.
Oh, thank you.
That just amazes me how folks get up super early every Saturday morning to come see me. I don't know that there's anybody that I would be willing to get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I love your channel, Fallon. I love Becca, but I don't know that I'd be up that early. And then the folks in Australia stay up to 10 or 11 o'clock at night to watch. I think that's amazing as well. So thank you to each and every one of you that come on. It really does mean the world to me. Cynthia Marie Field is here. Good morning. Good morning, Kathy. Did we miss anybody? Kathleen. Good morning, Cheryl. It's good to see you again. She actually won the prize that we gave away last week. I don't know if she started her pad. There was the goats and sweaters. Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a lot of fun as well. Leslie G has popped in. I think I got everybody. Oh, okay. Cheryl's in the Mountain Time Zone. I didn't know we had anybody in the Mountain Time Zone, so that's cool. I know we have a lot of West Coasters. We have a lot of folks in the Central, in Eastern. We get some folks from the UK and Australia, but yeah, I've never actually known to see if anyone from the Mountain Time Zone. So that's awesome. We've got the whole the United States represented here. And good morning, Donna. She has popped in to say good morning as well. So I got to hang out with her and her crew for a little bit last night. I was sitting there quilting away and just had a good time with her as well. So I am here today to sew. Sometimes we get some sewing done on these lives and sometimes we don't. And that's okay. We're just here to have a good time. And that's what we're up to. So I'm going to do clue 5 of the Village Green Puzzle Mystery Quilt by Cotton Cuts. This is the block that I'm going to end up making eventually.
Those puzzle quilts are so fun.
They are. I've just really enjoyed doing this program. And then these are the fabrics that I'm using, the lavender colorway. And then you brought along something to quilt, correct?
Yes, yeah. I have so many quilts that I need to finish, just quilt tops everywhere. So I thought it'd be fun to try and work on one of mine. I got a little bit of it done yesterday, but it's a quilt from one of my subscription boxes, the Reb's Fab Stash, and it is so pretty. So I really want to get it done and actually finished, which is rare for me. I don't get very many ever completely finished, it feels like.
You make me feel so much better because I thought I was the only one that had like, I think, no joking, I think there's about, I can see about 12 or 15 quilt tops or flimsies as you call them, and I love that name. Sitting over, I actually, like, we've got an old clothes drying rack that's kind of just, it's a little wonky, but it kind of sits over by the wall, and I just put all my flimsies over there, and they just sit
Yeah.
there and stare at me every week going, quilt me, quilt me.
Yeah, they're definitely taunting. I have them piled up everywhere. I have a cabinet that I have them in, and that kind of helps because it's closed and I don't see them. But I took a bunch out because I had it in my mind that I was going to finish a bunch of them, and then I just didn't. I get very overwhelmed because I'm like, I love straight line quilting all my stuff, and that's the easiest way for me. But then I always think this would look really good if I would just practice free motion quilting and do this design on it. And then I don't finish.
Yeah, and that's just something you need to just, that's something I've been working towards this year. And I think I've mentioned it a few times on the channel, that I've been practicing free motion quilting and ruler work on smaller blocks. And I've been very, very scared to take the plunge and do it on a bigger quilt. And yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm never going to do it if I don't start. So I pulled out the pinwheel quilt that I did last year. And I actually did some free motion quilting on it and some ruler. It's kind of a combination between ruler work and pinwheel. And it did not turn out as bad as I had feared. I thought it was going to get all bunched up and it's just be an absolute disaster. I mean, that's always been my greatest fear, but it actually turned out fairly decent. You'll get to see more of it tomorrow. And some of the ladies over at Donna's Zoom actually got to see some of it as well. So if you're on the fence and you're a little scared, take the plunge, and just you've got to start somewhere. Like your first free motion quilting is not going to win any awards at the state fair, unless just very, very talented. But you've got to start somewhere. So I just say go for it, have a good time, and just go from there. Let's see what else is in the chat. Okay, good morning, Janice from The Right Way. She says, good morning, Sean and Fallon, two of my favorite YouTubers. Oh, that's so sweet. I like that.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. And my friend Pam from Queensland is here. Good evening. I know it's super late here for you. Sharon says, LOL, judgmental flimsies. Yes, but I mean, to me, it really does help having them sit there because I can see them and I know I have to do something with it. And doing the free motion stuff last night really gave me the confidence boost that I can actually do it. So, yeah. I feel far more that pile of flimsies looking at me going, "Help me," isn't quite so intimidating yet because I can stitch in a ditch like anybody else. Like I'm confident at that. I'm confident at that, but I want to do a little more. So I'm just super excited that I'm actually able to do that as well. Lisa said I did a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Laura Fuller Earth and Art says, I know what you mean. As the wall hanging textile piece has taken up a lot of time as it's doing in stages. I was working with Durian Wire the other day. Yeah, she's doing a wonderful job of her quilt. If I remember correctly, she's doing everything by hand, which just absolutely blows my mind. So, okay. Jan says she needs you to send Matt down to Australia to make her stuff.
I know. Oh my gosh. I was thinking, wouldn't that be fun if we could just go on vacation somewhere like that and just pack a bunch of everything and bring it instead of the shipping fees?
I know, right? So, yeah. Good morning, Teresa. It's good to see you. All right, so I am doing my lavender colorway, as I mentioned to everybody. If you popped in late, because I know people pop in, as the live goes on, because we are on super early. Like I don't expect everyone to be here right at 8 o'clock Eastern, so that is perfectly cool. Fallon is doing the quilting on that. I just love the colors on that. Like me and bright colors. Anytime I can see something bright and colorful, I am a happy camper. So where did I put? Oh, there it is. Okay, so what else have you been up to? I know you've been super busy with all sorts of different things, and we've talked about the slide lock rules. And if you haven't seen those, definitely go check those out. Good morning, Martha. It is good to see you. What has been new on your channel? Like, what have you been up to in your quilty time?
Oh, I just had an unboxing video go up. I think it was yesterday. And in that one, there is a giveaway. So if anyone missed it, you can go catch that. It was the Reb's Fab Stash box. And I always enjoy that box because it's all projects. That's why I kept the two that I kept, because they're both projects and they're smaller. So I know I can get it done. It's not going to be a lot of, stuff piling up. And then I did some sewing last week that was completely for me. I've been trying to take after Becca. I think she's been talking about that a lot, just doing some sewing that she's been wanting to get to. So I'll show one of them. I'm going to show all of them on the live that I get on with my husband later, but I'll show one that's almost done. I love sewing handbags, so I've been working on this pattern. And I have two that are completely finished, and then this one. And I absolutely love making bags because I actually finish them all the way through. It's not like a quilt where I have to quilt it and all that. So that's what I worked on this week, was finishing up some bags that I've had the pattern for and have been wanting to do.
Yeah, and you do such a wonderful job with the bags. It's one of the, I haven't seen you do a lot with bags recently, or it's just that I haven't been watching the right times, because, we all get busy, and I just cannot keep up with all, I can't keep up with all my friends. I try, but I can't keep up with everybody. But yeah, you do such a wonderful job with bags. I've made a couple of bags over the years, but it's not my strong suit. Well, I do okay with them, but I'd rather make a quilt most of the time. But it's nice to have that skill, because if you want to make a bag for someone, they turn out so beautifully when you're done.
They're for me, they're really fun because, one, I love purses. So they're just something fun to make, and they're such unique with the different designs. But for me, mainly one of the reasons I really love doing those and like some of the smaller projects is because I can get it all the way finished. I'm like, okay, I feel better. I completely finished a project instead of seeing all my quilts that just pile up, because they really take a lot more time to completely finish.
For sure. Yeah. And I think part of it for me is that I don't use purses or handbags. So
wallets, you got to make the wallets then.
I tried making a wallet for my wife, and I can't remember the pattern for it, but it was an absolute nightmare. And I'd like to try another wallet sometime. But yeah, the pattern that I purchased, the instructions just weren't that good. Like I don't want to be bad, be mean to anybody, but it just wasn't well written. I actually had to go look for tutorials on how to try and finish it, and even then it was still a hot mess. The videos that I watched were really, really good, and I actually got to meet the person that produced the videos at a quilt show a couple of years ago. And I just said, I told her, thank you. Yeah, it was. And I was like, thank you so much for your videos. I actually got to finish it, even though it was a hot mess. But I'll try bags again. I know you've recommended to me a couple of different patterns, like the wallets and that sort of thing now, which I'll try at some point. But the other thing I'd like to make at some point is maybe like a backpack that I can put my laptop in. I think it'd be fun to make like a laptop backpack, because when I go to the office and that sort of thing, it'd be nice to have in some sort of fun quilty print. So that's kind of something that's down the line. I wouldn't wait for me to do it, because it might be 2027 before it happens.
I think we all have dream projects like that. Like, one day I am going to make this, and patterns too. I have so many patterns that I would love to get to.
Yeah, that's kind of like my bucket list quilting. Like I have stuff that I'm going to do this year, stuff I'm planning on doing next year, and then there's stuff that just, it'll be nice if I ever get to it. Jan's asking, are you doing straight line quilting?
So no, not really. I'm just doing wavy lines across it. I didn't want to get out all my rulers and draw out the lines because the border's so far away from where it is. So I decided, since it's like a cloud with rain coming from it, that just doing wavy lines across would kind of hopefully mimic wind, was my thought.
And is this quilt for you, or is it for a gift?
It's probably going to be for me, because I love how it turned out.
Nice. I think I think that's something that, yeah, like I know for me it's true, and for a lot of quilters, like I don't think we ever really make a whole lot of quilts for ourselves. It's always for someone else. Is that the same for you, or is it, am I just a freak of nature in that respect?
No, I think that's true because, while I say it's for me, I know one of my friends that I've been friends with since high school. She really likes it. I always send her pictures of stuff because whenever she sees one of my videos go up or me post in my group and I didn't send her the picture of what I was working on before, she's like, "Why didn't I get to see you working on that?" So she really likes it, so it might end up being hers. I don't know yet, but she won't care how I did it. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
if
Yeah.
these wavy lines didn't turn out as I envisioned, she will like it either way because she has to.
I mean, we're our own worst critics anyway, and yeah, no one's ever going to notice it. And that's kind of one of the reasons, like the free motion one I was talking about earlier that I'm doing is for our exchange student. And I was like, the stitch length is not perfect, the quilting is not perfect. It's, but she's not going to notice, and she's not going to care. You know,
And after
she's
it's
just going to look.
used and washed, it all crinkles, and it's, like a lot of that you don't even see anymore.
No, yeah, and unless you're putting it in a show, and even then, like it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect helps, but if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. I think as long as you learn something from it, then it's well worth the experience, and you're not going to get better unless you practice. I know, like whenever you do anything, they always say, "Go practice, practice, practice," and sometimes you're like, "No, that's not going to do any good," but it really does help with any
Yeah.
quilting, whether it's piecing or quilting or doing lives, anything else like that. So it really does help.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been sewing and quilting since I was a teenager, and I feel like I'm still learning new things about quilting. So even I see progress from my quilts from this year, from last year, 2 years ago, and how they turn out. So
Oh, for sure. And I think Donna and the ladies and I were talking about that exact same thing last night. We're learning something all the time, and if you're not learning, then that's probably not a good thing, or you're just not realizing that you're learning. All right, so I'm actually making progress, which is really good. Okay, Jan says Marie Scrappy Creations has a great tutorial for a tote bag. So easy to follow. I've never made a bag before and it turned out okay. I'll have to go check that out. Thank you for that, Jan. I always love hearing from like hearing suggestions and everything else from the viewers, because you guys have such, you get to see different stuff to me. I don't, we all get different recommendations, and I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend I have all the answers. So yeah, I always appreciate your feedback, because you guys show me some really, really neat stuff. I mean, that's how I found Art East, and the beautiful quilts that they make. I mean, I probably would have stumbled across them eventually, but not necessarily right away. So Laura says, I have done one handbag, the button though I do have trouble with for the closure. Yeah, and that's kind of a issue sometimes too, but yeah, just play with it. I mean, I think I might cheat next time and just use snaps, because I have all the snap stuff here. So
yeah, the closures and the zippers and all that are that was the most challenging part to learn for putting a handbag together. It's just,
right.
it's so different. It's a different type of sewing and construction than what I was used to with making quilts. So, and bags are very different because you can go through a bunch of different seam allowances in them if you're not paying close attention to the pattern. There'll be a part that they want you to do, like a half an inch or a 3/8 of an inch. So if you're not reading it very carefully, it's not all 1/4 inch.
I'll have to watch that, because yeah, I'm terrible at reading patterns. I am definitely a visual learner, and I love to read the patterns that have some text, but it's mostly pictures, and you can kind of put it together without having to look at the words too much, are my absolute favorites. So,
Yeah.
but that's burnt me a few times as well. When I've followed the pictures and then I've missed the critical piece of text that says you're supposed to do it in this order, and I've done it in the wrong order. So I've been burnt, but we are not perfect, and that's why we have our friend who shall not be named, because he hasn't come out to play yet. But I've got this part done so far.
That fabric is so pretty.
It is very, very pretty. I love this one. So yeah, we're getting along. So let's see. I've done that part. I'll try and not get distracted.
And you're doing the next one too, the carnival.
Yes, I am doing Carnival. I am doing Bum Pop, which is the red, white, and blue batiks.
Okay, that's gonna be. They get me every time. I'm always going there and look at them, and I'm like, I cannot do another project right now, though. But they are so much fun. I always want to, and I keep thinking maybe I'll just get it and let them pile up and do them all at once, like I did with my last one. I did a whole bunch all at once and just got them all done.
Yeah, but I think it's important too to sometimes just sit there and say no.
Yeah.
I think too much. Like I've had folks come to me with different project ideas, and as much as it pains me to say no, I've had to say no to some people and say I just don't have the spare time. I've pushed back collabs with folks, because of that as well. And it's hard, and I'm a people pleaser by nature, and it's really hard to say no, but sometimes you just need to, just for your own sanity. So
Yeah.
if I say no to somebody, it's not because I don't like you. It's just that I have to, do it that way. Okay, so Jan said she has to. Jan's saying she's bowing out of the cotton cuts this time. I thought she was running away. I was like, Fallon's not going anywhere. She was asking,
Yeah.
do you always quilt on your sewing machine, or do you have a long arm as well?
A long arm is a dream. I'm going to own one sometime, but right now I don't, one, have space for it. And I know that sounds crazy because I know a lot of you know I have a big space. I'm very blessed with that, but half of it's taken up with other stuff at this point now, which was going to be where the long arm goes. So I do all my quilting on this machine. I have sent quilts out before to other long armors to do, and I love doing that. But as much as I absolutely think they are very valuable, worth every penny, it's sometimes really hard to, think of paying that much when I know if I just sat down and did it, I could do the quilting as well myself. So, we all are on a budget. So.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I would love to send all of them out, as many as I have, it's just hard to do.
Yeah, it is hard, and it's a big expense. A friend of mine bought a long arm recently, and it was a absolutely huge purchase, and
and the space, they take up a lot of space too.
Yeah. Well, she has space for it and everything else, and she's like, if you ever need to use it, come visit. So that might be something I'm going to take. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to just use it. I'm going to pay. I figure I'll pay for time. Like at least that way I can help pay for a little bit of it. It won't be very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of quilt shops that you can do that here, where you can go rent time on the long arm, and I think I might start doing that because I really do want to get one at some time. So. I might, because then you can, if you go to different shops that have different ones that you can rent, you could see what brand you like, or make sure you make the right purchase if you're going to invest that amount of money.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's where the quilt shows come in handy too, because you can go play on, the different brands as well. So, that's something else you can do. Janine says, well, guys, got to say goodbye. Road trip this morning to 4 quilt shops that are participating in the Robo Row. Oh, that'll be fun. I hope you have fun with that, Janine.
That's fun.
I have not been to my local quilt shop in weeks. I need to go. I need to get like sashing for about 3 t-shirt quilts. And one of these days I will actually make it over to the quilt shop. It's probably a good thing that they're 45 minutes away, because I save so much money by not going.
I know. I needed some 505 spray, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll run to the quilt shop. And I was like, well, I don't need it today. So I just went and bought it on Amazon, because I was like, if I go there, it's going to be more than the 505 spray.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why, like if I go by myself, I spend less than if I take my wife with me. Like, she finds the most beautiful patterns. She finds stuff I would never pick up, and it always turns out being the best thing. But yeah, I always spend a lot more when I take her with me. So if I'm there for just like a set thing, like I only go get stuff for, backing or solid, sashing or that sort of thing there as well, I just run out, usually just run there after work if I'm not carpooling that day. So, but Joe's haven't been over there yet. So, but I do need to go soon. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. Oh, these two look nice together.
Oh, that is so pretty.
Yeah. I'm really love this, both of these fabrics, but I think this one here is my favorite for some reason.
Yeah, it has that deeper color to it. It's really pretty. I like that Cotton Cuts does that too, that they have the colorways that are batiks too, because so many people like using batiks. And then they have, all those different colorway options. So even though you don't know what the pattern is going to look like, at least you'll like the fabric that's in it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I've like last time when I did the So Sweet with the Benet, it was like it was orange, red, green, white, and blue batiks. There was times there that I just didn't think it was going to turn out very well. I was putting the blocks together, and I'm like, did I just make a huge mistake doing this? And then even when I saw the final assembly instructions, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to give this to somebody that I like, but because I just don't know that I want this for myself. And then when I put it together, I loved it. Absolutely loved it when it was put together. So I think it's one of those things that you just have to, it's kind of like a leap of faith, not knowing what it's going to turn out like.
Yeah, that's how it was. I loved one of them that I got. It had like some deep plum colors, and then there was this solid orange that was in it. And I'm not a big fan of orange. So I loved the other colors so much that I just still went with it and got it. But when I was piecing it, I was like, I'm not going to love this at all. But when it all came together, it worked. It's really interesting how that happens. You have to have a lot of respect for the designers who put it together and do all the colorways and figure it all out, because I've not seen one completely assembled that I was like, I do not like that.
I know. Yeah, because from what I understand, because I had Kim on here, what was it, 3 or 4 weeks ago? And I asked her about that.
Yeah.
So from what I understand is that Christina, who's the lady in New Zealand, writes the patterns, but Kim and her team are the ones that go out and pick out the colorways.
They do a phenomenal job because
she has a beautiful eye for color. Because there's a store in the UK that does the puzzle mystery quilts as well, and they pick out their own colorways. So that's why if you go onto I think it's the Mystery Quilters Facebook group, you sometimes see folks come on there with the puzzle mystery quilt, but they have different colorways and they're calling it something different. So yeah, Christina provides the patterns, and then the individual, I think it's just Cotton Cuts, and then the folks in the UK that do it pick up the fabrics. So yeah, whoever's responsible for picking up the colors, I don't know if it's Kim herself or her team, they do it, like you said, an absolute wonderful job. And I mean, it was really hard for me not to buy a second or third colorway this time around, because there was so many good options.
There are really so many good ones. I'm always so tempted because I'm in their group and I see them all start popping up on Facebook, and I'm like, I want that one. I want to do that one, but I just know it's gonna pile up. I don't have the bandwidth right now to work on another one.
And that's why I did not. That's why I didn't buy a second one. I was like, I want to, but I'm not going to, because I just don't have the time, because I think I have like 6 or 7 projects, like unfinished flimsies to do. And so when you put the flimsies on top of that, yeah, I'd never get anything done, because I have this thing called a full-time job that kind of gets in the way of my sewing.
Yeah, aren't those bothersome?
Yeah, but those things help pay the light bill and the food bill and everything else. So you just got to deal with it. Plus, I think they'd miss me if I disappeared. So
yeah, they'd probably notice
Jan
right
says
away.
Yeah, Jan says she needs to watch a video on making a t-shirt quilt, as my sister-in-law's twin wants me to make one of her son's shirts who passed before Christmas. Anyone got suggestions on who to watch? Yes, I do.
You have one.
There's a guy called the guy who sews. He put out a 5-part tutorial series. Yeah, I tried to break it down as like as easy. I tried to do it as though you'd never done one before, kind of from start to finish, like how to pick out your, the size of your panels, how to cut it out, how to press it, get a steam press if you can, and how to put it all together. So definitely check out my tutorial series. If you go to the channel and then playlist, it should be like t-shirt quilt things. And you can pretty much work with whatever material you want. If you put these usable interfacing on the back, look, there we go, this stuff. You just need a real lightweight fusible back, in that way kind of it's not too stiff, but it stops the shirts from stretching and that sort of thing there. So yeah, definitely check that out. But also check out some other videos, because different people learn from different people altogether. So I mean, you might find mine is great, but you may find someone else has done I think Donna has some as well, and that sort of thing there as well, and that you may learn better from someone else. So if that's the case, that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you learn what you need to learn, that is the main thing. So, but yeah, check it out.
If you watch a few, you might pick up different techniques and a style of putting them together that you like.
Exactly, yeah, because if you want to learn how to do it mosaic style, I am not your friend, because I don't do mosaic style. I think Tucker has taught how to do mosaic style. He said that if you get like one of them graph books and figure out how big each panel is going to be, and you can kind of put it together like a puzzle to do it mosaic style as well. He told me that one time, and I think that is a good way of thinking about it. So, maybe check out Tucker's channel as well if you plan on doing that. Mine are all
you work yours through in rows, right?
I do mine in rows, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just how I like to do it. I just individual, like each row is a little different. I'll go grab one of them real quick. Hang on.
Yeah, I remember watching Sean's, and I thought it was really helpful because I watched one where they did all theirs in multiple of 2 inches so that they could figure out a way to work them together. And I was like, I cannot do all that math. Like, I need a simple way.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is my t-shirt quilt here that I made for myself. And so I just put a real thin sashing in between. But what I try and do is I measure each of the shirts before I start cutting. And I like to have about maybe 2 inches at the top and the bottom. I might have 5 different or 2 or 3 different row heights. So this one I think is like 14 or 15. This next one is like 8 or 9. And so I put them together so that way you don't have a whole lot of space at the top or the bottom. And I'm not having to, cut anything off. I mean, I think there's been one shirt that I've had to cut, like trim around the edge. And that was only because the print was like 20 by 20 and there was absolutely no way I could get it in without everything else looking dwarfed. But I tried very, very hard not to do that. So, all right, Janine E says, your t-shirt quilt tutorial is outstanding. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I mean, I tried to work very, very hard on it. It was a big passion of mine to get it done. And I'd actually planned on like doing the whole thing in like 3 weeks, and it took like 6 months. But I do try to do everything. Like if I wouldn't watch the video myself, I'm not going to put it out there. So I'd rather wait and do it, so it's actually worth watching. Janet says, be able to follow you, Sean, we speak the same. Absolutely. I love that. All right. So I'm making progress on my quilt, which is really good. And I can't believe this thing's halfway done already. Like this is clue 5. And yeah, we've only got 10. So that's really, really neat.
They really seem to fly by when you get going. You feel like it's going to be forever before you see the reveal, but it really feels like it flies by fast.
Yeah, I got to like, that's how I felt like, the first clue or 2, it was like, yeah, this will be, forever until we get it done. And then you get to like 5 or 6 and it's like, wow, this is flying by. And then you get to clue 9 and you're like, I just want to see the finished result. You're like that impatient little toddler that just wants to see it finished. I feel the same way when I'm flying across the Pacific, you know, you're like 5 or 6 hours in, and you just want to get to the destination, and you realize you've got 10 hours to go. All right, Laura says t-shirt quilts are fabulous, and I will do one day. Yeah, absolutely. If you ever need have questions or need help on that, just let me know. I'll help you out however I can. I do need to get some of mine made because I've got 3 in the works in different stages. All right, let's see. Now, this is a really pretty block. I think this is probably the best one so far. So we've got this.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, let me please tell me.
I wonder if it's going to be near the center. I always wonder that when I was piecing them, like, could I lay these out and try to figure out what it's going to look like?
Kim was talking about that the other week too. Like, she said that out of all the times that people have done, I think there's like 2,500 people have done different quilts and that sort of thing there. Only one person's been able to lay it all out, send them a picture and say, is this it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like the last time, I figured out where one of the borders were, but that was about it. The rest I had no clue. I tried to figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to figure it out. I'll just have to wait. All right, let's see what else I got going on here. I'm getting too distracted today. All right. So I would love to. I know you're a super busy lady and you get so much done. But what is a typical day for you? Like in the mind of a content creator, like what goes through your, like, you know, you put out a video or 2 each week. But I know you homeschool and then you're a mother and a wife and everything else. Like what's a typical day for you?
Oh man, so I get up during the week, not on the weekends, but during the week I get up at 5:30, get ready, and me and my husband always go for a walk in the morning together. And then I get back. Usually in the morning is when I'll edit and reply to emails and YouTube comments and things like that. Get thumbnails done. When my kids get up, you know, I get them their breakfast, whatever they need. My daughter works, so I take her to work if she needs to go there. And between the middle of the day, I help the kids with school if they have school, and I'll be filming, things like that. My daughter, like I said, she works, so I pick her up. And then in the evening, she usually has soccer practice and I'm there. And in the car, while she's at soccer practice, I'd usually be replying to any emails that I need or planning out any videos that are coming up. The planning is very important for me because I put together all these lists and outlines of what I need to film for videos to make sure I hit everything that needs to be in it. So that's a pretty broad overview of it, but that's usually.
Oh, that's fine. That's what I was just curious about it, and that answers my question perfectly. I was just curious on how you get stuff done, because like there's only 24 hours in the day, and I was just like, I don't know how she does it. So
yeah, sometimes I don't either, but I've always been a very like kind of very organized in my plans for the day. So I like to make lists of what I want to get done each day. So that helps me plan my day out a lot as to what needs to be done, when I have space to do each thing. And that keeps me like pretty much everything at our house ready. I have days set on when I clean each thing, when I do laundry, and all that is all planned out. It's kind of scary.
my wife's the same way. She is definitely a list person, you know, and she's very organized like that. I am on certain things, but not as much as that. So I mean, I like most days, like, well, Monday to Friday I go to work, you know, sometimes I'm in the office, sometimes I'm at home. And then like on office days, when I get home from work, like by the time I've commuted to and from the office, because it's like 45 minutes on a good day, could be a little longer if there's, you know, traffic at the tunnel, that sort of mess. I get home sometimes and I want to sew, but I'm just too exhausted. That's why I keep talking about, I want to do the mindless projects. Like the cotton cuts is great because you just sit, you know, everything's pre-cut. You just open up the package and away you go.
Yeah.
or the Scrappy Dine. Yeah, not the Scrappy Dine. That's what I did last year. The City Avenue is one that I'm working on right now. It actually gives me a chance to quilt because otherwise I'm not going to do it. So yeah,
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard because some of the more complicated patterns, you're just so tired and you know you're just going to be seam ripping it the whole time if you can't just sit there and focus on it. So it's fun having those projects sometimes where you just sit and it's easy to do.
yeah, I absolutely need that because there's a lot of times during the week I just can't do anything complicated. Like I love doing the Wizard of Oz and the Mythical Darksons and all that sort of stuff there, but I just can't do it. Because my daytime job is very mentally draining. Like, I love what I do, but it's just you get you think sitting in an office all day and answering emails and calls would be easy, but
No, it's
physically it
exhausting.
is. Yeah, physically it is, but not mentally.
Yeah.
Mona says here that she likes how Fallon puts the quilt over her shoulder. Um,
Yeah, I have to make sure it's not dragging.
I've never tried that, but I think I might have to give that a go because that might actually be a good idea for me.
You gonna say hi?
I can say.
Oh,
You
it's
look
the first
tired.
Hey Matt, how you doing?
Hey, Sean, I'm bad. All right.
No.
I'm well. I'm just very hot. I've been in my shop working, and it's like 82 degrees in there right now.
Oh wow, yeah, because everyone's getting all this warm weather. I mean, it's been like I think we're in like the one pocket of North America that has been cool. Like we've had like 60, 65-degree days for the last week. I think it's supposed to be up in the 70s this like today, but other than that, yeah, it's been very, very cool here. Like I almost had to pull out my sweater the other day going to work.
That's almost bragging.
I'm complaining. I looked at my workmate the other day and I was like, is it like December? And I just like fell asleep for 6 months in a coma or something because it was like it was windy, it was cool, like it was just and then like they got brush fires up in Halifax, which should not affect you, Stephen, don't worry. And everywhere else is like 90 degrees, and it's just we're sitting here almost freezing to death. So Linda Denton says, hi everyone, I can't stay because I had my sewing club this morning. I hope you enjoy your sewing club this morning. Definitely come back and check out the replay if you get a chance to as well. Susan Neera says, I make plans and it seems when I do, everything falls apart. I get more done when I just do it. I like making plans too, and it helps, but I try and what helps me is if I think something's going to take an hour, I budget 2, because if you try and as soon as I try and sit down and do something, Finley wants to play the in and out game, which is where she goes out for 10 seconds and then comes back in and then goes out and comes back in.
Yeah.
Or you have to pull out he who shall not be named, or something just happens. So I try and plan double what it's going to take, and then that way if I'm ahead then I get more done, and if not then I'm not too disappointed. Jan says good evening, Matt.
Oh, good evening, Jan. I can't see anything from where I'm standing.
Oh, that's fine. I figured as much. That's why I was like, I'll just tell you. All right, so you have a live later on this morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. What are you planning on doing on your live today? Because I know you are very gracious and came on last minute for me, even though you have your own live in a little bit. So once you've done here, go grab some breakfast, a cup of coffee or whatever else, and go over and visit Fallon's live as well, because she'll have some fun stuff as well.
So we worked on something yesterday. We're very last minute people. So should we tell them what we have going up? It's not in our live, but we are talking about in there that's going up later that hopefully you all love.
Let's just say there will be a short 1.5-minute video that will premiere later today. That is probably the most ridiculous thing I have ever done in my life. So we'll see how it goes. But I think this morning it's just going to be talking about a couple updates on new products, availability, pricing. That's basically about it, John. Nothing too crazy.
Okay. I think it's great that you guys are doing lives each morning, because that time frame, between mine and I think Mum and Pop come on about 1 p.m. Eastern or 12 noon for you guys. There's been that gap and there's no one really doing a whole lot of lives. And that's when everyone's kind of waking up, especially on the West Coast. So, I mean, it's a perfect time for you guys to hop in and fill that void because, I can just send them all over to you when I'm done here. So I think it's great. Mary G says that she looks for morning, Matt. Look forward to what you do too later on. Linda says I missed the live, but hopefully I'll catch the replay. Yeah, I don't know if I can do it later on this morning yet, so we'll have to see. Laura says good morning, Matt. I think you have a lot of fans here, Matt. So, and the question I have is when are you going to join Quilting World and make your first quilt?
I've been talking to my wife about that only because I feel like it's at the point where I can't call myself first husband of quilting if I don't actually make one. So I'm trying to find the easiest possible pattern in the smallest possible form factor so that I can at least get my feet wet. So if you have any suggestions, Sean, let me know because I'm trying to do something very easy that is not going to make me look too foolish.
Well, you did a good job with cutting. You're already
I don't know about that.
Really, at the end of the day, like I say, go simple. Like my first quilt was a baby quilt. It was 6.5-inch squares. I just made a patchwork quilt. I went super simple. A lot of people do go very complicated. I just went simple because I didn't have any family members or friends that sewed. So I was pretty much YouTube University only. So go simple. And if you want, all kidding aside, make yourself something small, like a wall hanging like this one here. It's 24 by 24. You can make that size. Or if you want to go super simple, make some placemats or some bowl cozies. Bowl cozies might be good to start just because those things go together in about 45 minutes. They are super simple. It's 2 pieces of fabric and some batting. Great way to use up scrap batting. That's what I use, my scraps of batting for as my bowl cozies. And it just gives you the confidence that you can get it done. So like if you don't want to start a quilt, do something like that first and then work your way up. So
that's a good idea. I try to make my own lunch every day, and recently I've been on a kick of making noodles with vegetables, and I eat them in bowls, but I make them in a wok, and it's very hot. And so we have a couple bowl cozies, but I've gotten them all dirty because I'm a messy eater. So we need more. So maybe I will do a bowl cozy. I like that idea.
Yeah, and I'm sure Fallon knows how to make it, and if not, I have a tutorial, and there's many good tutorials out there on that. But they're the best gifts. Just be careful if you give them to like co-workers or whatever it is, because you give them one, they'll come back asking you like 3 or 4. I did that for Christmas one year for my team, and I think I got orders, for about 12 more afterwards, which is a good thing because that folks like it. So I mean, I had no problem with it, but yeah, just be warned if you do that, don't be surprised if they come back looking for enough for the whole family.
Well, it's nice seeing you, Sean. I'm going to get back to work because I want to try and finish something before we have our live. But it was nice talking to you.
Oh, you too. I'm glad you stopped by to say hi, and absolutely love the quilt lock.
Oh, good. How did you? You were the first person for whom I tried to do a logo. How did it turn out for you?
Oh, it looks great. Here, I got it right here. Yeah, I love it. And you put it on both sides for me. So, but yeah, I do plan on doing a full review video. I love how thick this is. It's stuck. Like once you put it down on the fabric, it does not move, which has been something I've struggled with for quite some time. Because when you do the whole 24 inches width for fabric, the ruler always moves. So that stops that problem altogether. So I'm super Happy with that. Joyce Baker says good morning to Sean and Fallon, and she would say that too, so she realized she's in yet. So Jan wants to know, are you guys going to be talking about your flight details to Australia?
So we will. So I guess quick, we'll talk about it in live. I opened up shipping to Australia. I don't know how much it's going to cost because what are you doing? I don't know what it'll cost, but it is there, and I apologize in advance because I assume the shipping cost will be disgusting. But there's unfortunately nothing we can do to control the shipping prices. I wish there was.
Right.
But if you're interested, Jan, you should be able to go on our website and put it in your cart and at least see what the shipping cost would be. And if you have any questions, you can email us and we can try and figure it out.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, everyone, have a great morning. Sean, nice to see you as always.
Matt.
Okay, come on, Chance.
Kathleen says, what logo worked, Matt? Joyce did say hi on that. All right.
There's a delay too, so once people see, they're probably going to be gone.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, because there's about a 20-second delay. Joyce Baker says, I love my wooden clappers from Sew Be It Quilts, and I love mine too. The only problem
Your logo turned out so good on that one.
Oh, it did. I absolutely love this. And the once you guys get the 14-inch quilt lock rulers out, I think I'm going to order one of those and another clapper, because the only issue with this is I need two.
I know. I like to put one down and then I'm ironing another and put one down and I keep moving them across everything.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I don't know how I lived without it all that time, but yeah, I would love to get a second one. So that's definitely in the works that I'm going to go ahead and order a second one. It might be a different color because I think you're having issues getting more of that Purple Heart, right?
Yeah, he's still been trying to find it and hopefully they'll get it back in. But yeah, we have a bunch of different wood color. I need to update them all because I get really nervous keeping the quantities in because I need him to let me know how many he still has left and update them. But I think he's going to go up there to that wood shop soon and hopefully they'll get more Purple Heart because it was one of everyone's favorites.
Yeah. Well, if you do manage to get your hands on some more of that, let me know so I can go ahead and place an order, because I would love to get a second one. All right, let's just make sure I did this right. I always worry because I have messed this up in the past more than once. All right, Joy said she got the one with the handles, and that's the one of the looks like the iron, correct?
Yeah, the iron. That's my favorite. Yeah, that was like an idea that came to me when we were doing one of our morning walks. Like I said, we go for a walk every morning together, and that we were talking about the clappers and trying to come up with a unique design that looks different than what everyone else is doing. And so I was like, what would look really cool is if we got a handle that's iron and made it look like an antique iron. And that's how it was born.
And that's funny, like some of the best ideas you come up with are like, when you go for a walk or you're getting ready to fall asleep or you're in the shower or something like that. It's like not when you're in your sewing space, it's always like some weird random spot.
Yeah, I think it's because you're just like when you're in your space working, you're focused on that. So you're not really thinking about other things, or even if you're watching a movie, you have your phone nearby and you're looking at Facebook or Instagram and you're not completely focused. So yeah, it's nice going on those walks in the morning where we can just talk and, all those ideas can get bounced around.
That's great. Yeah, I'm the same way. And like when I get an idea, I just send myself a messenger, like a message in Facebook Messenger to myself. So that way I don't forget it, because 20 minutes later, I'm going to forget what I thought of and then I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we do that too. We'll talk about like what all needs to get done at night. Updating stuff in the shop or doing other things. And then we get done with the day and we're like, what were we needing to do? And if you didn't have that list going, it's gone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because I think I saw something somewhere recently where they said, like, it's kind of like one of those memes. It's like, if you're a creative or something like that, it's kind of like the mindset of someone that's creative is almost like having a, computer open with 2,316 tabs open all at once. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, I'm more,
Yeah, that's true. It's so true.
yeah, and that's a fact. I know you're definitely the same way of that. Laura says, great piece of equipment there, as I saw the video when you spoke about it with Matt Chet. Any more plans about shipping the stuff to the UK?
I think we have the UK open as well now. There was a few locations we opened up. Just we found addresses and did test shipping, and it's because of the weird shape of the box. I think it's if you get over like 12 inches or something, just the price goes up so much. So the shipping is just really high. And then I know there's like import taxes because our site doesn't collect taxes outside of the US. So there's all kinds of other fees that I think go into it. So, it's kind of one of those things that right now shipping is even in the US, it's crazy from one area to the other.
I know. Yeah.
I shipped Chris from Sew the Distance a quilt that she did a video on, because the box, when you fold up a quilt, they're big and bulky. So it was a pretty sizable box. And even just shipping from here in Texas to Pennsylvania, that box was like $20.
Do you use Ship Pirate at all?
We looked at that one as well, but the deals that Shopify gives us were better than the rates on there too. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just because of the shape of the box. It's just such an odd shape for some reason. It's because it's 24 inches long. So
yeah, well, I was thinking like more for the quilt.
Yeah.
I find that I find UPS tends to be cheaper than the post office when you get up and over a certain amount of weight. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah, whenever I've shipped a quilt, I've usually just used UPS. Then I go for whatever's cheapest usually because I'm fairly frugal. All right. Let's see what sort of trouble I got myself into. All right, I think I actually got it done.
That is looking really good.
And I didn't need to bring up my friend. This might be the first time that I've done one of these lavender blocks and not messed it up. Like, I am so stinking proud of myself.
It's so easy on those. The patterns are very easy, but if you aren't paying close attention to all the letters, because it doesn't have the same design or even sometimes shade that you're using, you just have to stay really observant of which one goes where.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I really got spoiled last year because of my colorway. It was so high contrast, it basically matched the pattern, and I didn't really have to. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, like, when they asked me to be an ambassador again this time around and which pattern I would like, I was like, I love the lavender colorway, but I really, really would like to do something more high contrast this time around because this is a whole new challenge. Like, I like
a lot of them are so similar.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love it, and I really enjoy doing the challenge. But I do like to get through stuff fairly quickly when I can because I have so much I want to do. I just want to knock it out and keep moving. Otherwise, I'm going to have a pile of unfinished quilt tops, let alone finished quilt tops. So I just thought it'd be fun to do something more high contrast, and I think that'll be a little easier for me this time around. But yeah, this is going to turn out so beautifully when it's done. As well, Pam says UPS is useless and super expensive in Queensland. Yeah, UPS in the US is pretty. It's decent here because they deliver everywhere. From my understanding, in Australia, they really only deliver, reasonably inexpensively, comparatively speaking, if you live in one of the capital cities. So if you're outside of Brisbane or Sydney or Melbourne or Adelaide or something like that, yeah, I've priced stuff with UPS and it's out of the world. So I can understand you saying that. Susan says shipping cost is why the quilts I'm making for 2 of my brothers will go home with them when they visit Washington State this August. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
make use of that stuff. I mean, you might pay $35 for your baggage, but you can put a lot of quilts in it for that. So I'm really
yeah. Yeah, that's nice when they
really
come
hoping
visit, pick it up.
yeah, and it's they get to see you, and it helps them out. I'm really hoping that this quilt for Daria fits in her suitcase, because if I have to ship it to Macedonia, yeah, I'll take out a small bank loan for it.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Cheryl says I use vacuum bags and mail quilts to get them as small as possible. Dollar stores they're $1.25. I order the case of them. Okay, that's a nice idea.
Yeah, that's really smart. I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah, I try and keep my boxes under 12 inches because I know, once you go over, I think so if you go over 12, they consider it oversized, and there's always a very, very hard surcharge for that. Even getting a paper pattern on Amazon is ridiculous. They've got to charge me $44 for postage. That's why I love PDF patterns, because you can just print it at home or keep it on. Like, I don't even, half of my PDF patterns I don't even print anymore. I just put it up on the computer screen and just read it off the computer screen as I'm making it. If it's detailed cutting instructions, I'll print that page alone out and put it on, so I can check off as I'm cutting it, like those Art East ones that I love to do. But the actual pattern itself, I just keep on my computer screen. I just pull it up, and as I'm making it along, I just scroll down, and that works beautifully for me. So I fully recommend PDF. And the other thing about PDF files that I love is that if you want to make the print size bigger on your screen, you just hit the plus button, 100% to 150 or whatever you need it to be, so you can actually read it. I mean, I still have decent eyesight, except for stuff up close, and I really should buy some reading glasses one day. But even so, like, some of the prints on these pieces of paper they mail out is so small, like you have trouble seeing it. And if you need, something bigger, you're kind of in trouble. So definitely figure. Most people do PDFs these days because and it's also instant gratification. You have to wait. Like, you're not sitting there at the mailbox going, "Where's my pattern?" You just download it and away you go. So, and they pull up on like your iPads and that sort of thing there as well. So you can always do it that way as well. Laura says she feels sorry for sellers and shipments because of the cost. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I know you guys struggle with that too, but
we really feel bad because people, they want us to open up to different areas, which I completely get. But we also feel so bad because we're like, we know that it's going to be really, the shipping and the, all those import taxes and all that stuff is just going to be, high. And a lot of it, there's nothing we can do about it,
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see it at some point in the future. Like, maybe you guys could, get distributors in different countries, like, Quilt Shop in the UK or Australia. And then, you could always ship a pallet of, I mean, I work in the international ocean shipping industry. Maybe you guys could get a pallet, on a container going to the UK or Australia and that sort of thing. There's sort of a consolidator, and it'd be a whole lot cheaper. And then that distributor could just, take orders, and ship them out domestically. I mean, I know you guys are a long way from being able to do that, but that would be a wonderful, mid to long term goal for you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We had talked about that too, that hopefully at some point we could find some shops or something there that would like them and do like a bulk shipment like that and make it a lot easier for everyone there and, for us, because, shipping one at a time, we always worry about too, like it getting lost or, there's, so many things could happen. So.
Well, with you guys being in Houston, I mean, you guys have a huge port there. So getting your, stuff to the port or the consolidator's warehouse, I mean, you wouldn't have to travel very far at all. So, I mean, you're perfectly located to do that sort of thing there. You and I can talk about that offline as well. I mean, I can't help you to Australia, but anywhere in Europe, I could get you in touch with our export team. If you need to talk to consolidators first, I think, unless you want to buy a whole container, which I don't know. That's
Well, maybe one of you on here has a quilt shop that would like them. Be the only one there that can do them.
Yeah. That'll be fun. Yeah, Jan says the shipping is going to be $100 Australian dollars, and $70 for the clapper. Wow. So yeah, that's pretty intense. So that's $60 to ship it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if I ever make it back down to Australia, maybe I can bring it and ship it across the land for you.
Be a clapper and slide lock mule.
Yeah, we always go down with like one bag each, and then we like throw a duffel in the bag as well, because we always come back with a lot more stuff. So that might be something we can. I can't do it for too many people, but if we do go back down there in the next year or two, I will definitely let you guys know. Okay, so are you talking about always L? I'm guessing it's a late P is asking who makes the rulers of the hand. You talk about this one here, because if so, this is Fallon and her husband's product. So yeah, absolutely well worth the money. So, and I think we have, I don't know if we have your information in there or not. If not, we'll definitely have one of our friends drop it in there real quick. But yeah, wonderful product. I will do more reviews. And if you want to review today, you can always head over and visit my friend Holly Schmidt. She did a wonderful review video on it this morning. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching that. So if you haven't seen that, go over and see what she tells you about it. And then I'll put out my review video fairly soon as well. And I'm not just saying it because Fallon's here, but it's one of the better rulers I've ever worked with. So all right, let me see if I can get to the website. You're on the Spotify, right? Not Spotify. Shopify.
Yeah. I do the same thing because they all sound the same, right?
Yep. All right, there we go. I'm about to drop this link in real quick. Oh, there we go. I have found it. Okay. So if you can't find it and you just Google Sew Be It Quilts Shopify, it'll come right up. But there we go. Your link is in, and they have wonderful products. They have the rulers, the clappers, which I have as well. Like I just have to have one of everything that Fallon sells apparently. And then she also has some different fabrics and stuff on there as well. So yeah, definitely go see what she has if it's something you're interested in, and they'll take good care of you as well. All right, so I have finished my block for anyone that just came in. My goal was to have a nice chat with Fallon and actually get a block made for the puzzle mystery quilt, and I achieved both. So I'm super happy, and I didn't have to use my friend who shall not be named, which is even better.
You might need to just always wear that shirt. Maybe that was your good luck charm.
Maybe that might be the trick. Who knows? I think I'm being more careful because, like you said a few moments ago, with this colorway being so similar, the dark color, the F, like this here shows really, really dark, but this one is not anywhere close to being a dark fabric. And that's really showing me off, because last time around, this was like dark red and everything else is like yellow or blue or whatever it else. So yeah, I'm having it's a whole new learning experience for me. So all right, but I think we might go ahead and wrap things up in a minute, because I mean, how did you do with your quilting? Are you done? Are you close?
I got a good portion. I got all of the rain part of it quilted, and so I just have the cloud at the top, which maybe is a little more, maybe about a quarter left, if that. So I'm good now. It's just trimming and binding, which will probably be another month away after.
This would come in really handy for your trimming, I think. I'm really looking forward. Yeah,
I'm excited to try it for that.
So the only thing I noticed with this is I usually cut with my little 28mm ruler.
Oh, yeah. We should mention that. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Well, most people cut with a 45. I have a 45 floating around somewhere. but I don't have any blades for it. But I did notice, for anyone that is concerned, if you have a Martelli cutter, the 28 mil does fit. So I can use the Martelli one until I get my 45 mil blades in. But yeah, depending on how it's made and where the plastic thing is, some of the smaller ones may not fit with the 1/4 inch, but that's the only thing I've noticed so far with it. But yeah.
Do you like your Martelli? I keep thinking I need to get one of those rotary cutters. Do you like the angle of it?
Yes and no. It's a great tool. I think if you have mobility issues, you don't have to press down very hard on it like you do like a stick one, but it's such a different motion because you're not pressing down on it, you're pushing along basically. It takes a while to get used to it. So there is a learning curve. If you do this when you first start, you probably wouldn't notice anything different, but because you're an established quilter and you've been using the other one for so long, there is a learning curve to it. At first, I wasn't a huge fan, but the more I use it, the more I am getting to like it. And I think it's kind of fun that I've been kind of forced to use it right now.
Yeah.
With the slide lock. So yeah, I mean, I bought it at the quilt show the other week because I mean I've seen Becky use it a lot and so many people like it. I just picked one up. I mean this one here, I think I paid $22, but it wasn't super expensive. So yeah, I mean if you want to try it, go for it and see what you think. And I mean I think people would like to hear what you think of it as well. But yeah, you might want to give yourself a bit of time to use it first, or maybe do a first impressions video and then come back 6 months later and go, how did I like it 6 months later? Because I think that'd be a very, very interesting for people to see as well, because yeah, it is a totally different motion as opposed to what you normally do.
So I don't know if you watch The Simple Quilter on YouTube, but she recently had a video where her husband and son who don't sew reviewed sewing machines. And okay. I thought it was so funny. So what I was thinking to do was to get a few different popular rotary cutters and have my husband review them, since he doesn't usually, use them, to just get his opinion of what he liked and stuff. So that's why I was wondering about it, because I've heard people say that, that it's good for people who have arthritis, the way you hold your hand. And since he does, I've thought it might be, fun to do something like that.
Oh, for sure. Maybe both of you do like maybe you both.
Yeah.
And so I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I think people would really, really like to hear that from you guys. So yeah, I say go for that. Yeah, some people are saying, yeah, Cheryl says she loves the Martelli. Always late says, now that I'm used to my Martelli rotary cutter, I love it. I just think, yeah, that's what I would say to anybody that was interested is, don't use it twice and then give up on it, because yeah, if you've been using the other one for a long time, it's such a weird different motion. It's kind of like going from stitch in a ditch to free motion quilting. Yeah, it's totally different. Like you're doing something that's totally different direction, everything else. But I see a lot of positives for it. And now that I'm using it a little bit more with the slide block, I am beginning to enjoy it more and more as well. So
yeah, that's good.
That's what I would say. All right. Well, goodbye, Laura. It was good to have you out here for a little while. I did see Heather from the Debt Free Quilter pop in. She said, just don't overpay for the Martelli cutter. Yeah, I think if you buy it directly from, I bought it directly from Martelli when they were at the quilt shop, and it was, yeah, it wasn't that expensive, and it was kind of neat because I got there like Saturday afternoon. It was really, really busy. It only had one left, and I think the only reason it was left because it was the left-handed one, which is what I needed anyway. It's interesting because the blue handle means it's left-handed and the red handle means it's right-handed. So most people you'll see will have the red handle one, but mine's blue because I cut with my left hand. So Jan says it feels safer. Yeah, I agree. It's a nice tool, but if you've been quilting a while, it's definitely going to be a much different feeling to what you're used to. So there is a learning curve to it. Yeah, Kathleen says, I love the idea of you doing the I'm trying to say. I'm running out of words. I'm sorry. this is my I'm guessing this is my cue to say goodbye to you all.
Yeah,
So,
you need to go wind down, get another cup of coffee, get your brain going again.
so, but do you want to, before we run away, do you want to tell us real quick what you have? Oh, thanks, Jan. She has a left-handed one too, so I'm not alone.
Oh, nice.
What you have coming up in the works? I know you guys are going to talk more about your rulers and all the other cool stuff, but do you have any other videos coming up in the near future that you'd like to promote?
So I do have a video coming up about with the well, now I can't talk, the Quilt as you go bags, the kits that are from June Taylor. So that is a video coming up, and then I have a video coming up that's going to be tips for putting quilting some of your quilts, and different ways that you can quilt them quickly on your just domestic sewing machine. So those are two that I have planned for right now. Who knows in the future? Hopefully I can convince my husband to do the rotary cutter idea, because I think that'll make for one, a fun video, but also informative for people who are maybe looking for a new rotary cutter, or or just getting into quilting and want to see what might work for them.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think anytime that you can do something like that, it's a good idea. Like I want to do one with maybe some different marking pens, because I really don't know what I'm doing with those things. I had a viewer ask me the other day which one people recommend, and I was like, I can throw the question out there, but I think it'd be fun to go out and buy, 3 or 4 different recommended ones, and then just see which one works best for me. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then
the marking, but the visibility, and then if it will actually disappear or not.
that's what I want to test. Like, just have some fun with it, because I've been afraid to mark with a lot of stuff because of that reason. I usually just if I do half square triangles and I have to mark it, I usually just use just a regular ink pen, because that mark goes away when I cut it usually. But I did get burnt a couple of weeks ago when it didn't come out, and it kind of bled onto the fabric a little bit. So you have it's one time out of the hundreds of ones that I've cut, and it really isn't that noticeable. So I just said forget. I can't even remember what project it was. I think it's on the City Avenues one. You'll never see it. I can, but no one else will. So I really don't worry about it. But yeah, I think that'll be some fun stuff to do as well. So and then you're doing a collaboration.
That's a great idea. I like that idea.
Yeah. And then you're doing the project with Becca and Chris, right?
Yeah. So that's next weekend. That video will go up. It'll be live with on Becca's channel. But then we're each going to show our finished project later in a video. So kind of like what she did with Tiffany. I can't remember who else was in it. I think Ian. I think there was somebody else too, but I'm horrible with remembering anything.
Yeah.
I know I watched them all because it was the Tula Pink fabric, and I am scared to use that fabric, but I absolutely love seeing it in finished projects. It's just so bright for me, but I love seeing what people do with it.
Yeah, no, they do such a good job with that. I've never used her fabric. I actually have my eye on a project that's using it very, very soon, and I'll reveal that at the proper time. But yeah, I think it's best to get like a kit or something else like that uses it, so you're kind of forced to actually cut it up and use it, because a lot of people buy that stuff and it's so pretty, it just sits on the shelf, so scared to use it. But I think Adam So said once, it's just fabric, just go ahead and cut it. He's great. he's just great like that. So Teresa or Louise was the other one, right?
Oh yes. Yeah.
It's just the 3 of them. I didn't realize Teresa was part of that. So okay, see, and that's why the audience is so great, because they know, they can remember the stuff that you and I forget. So
yeah, I felt like for sure that there was someone else, but I couldn't. At first I was thinking Donna, but then I was like, no, that's not right, because I know she's been doing because what I've been watching on her channel is a lot of those legit kits that I that's another one that I was like, I need to jump in on this because it looks so fun. So I knew I was wrong with Donna, but thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Good night, Jan. It's good to see. See you here tonight. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow
Bye,
during
Janet.
my podcast. But yeah, I had the legit kit too. That's kind of been put on the side burner for me because I have to go out and buy the fabrics. I just bought the pattern for the dragon, and I just want to take the time and do it properly because it's going to take me a while to go pick up the fabrics because I don't want to do the red. I want to do. I'm kind of thinking maybe either pink like the dragon from Shrek, or maybe like
Oh, fun.
or browns, like creams and browns, like and make it look toasty.
Yeah.
I just haven't decided which one I want to do yet. So we will see. Good evening, Paula. It's good to see you. You're catching us right as we're getting ready to say goodbye, but it's good to have you here with us just for a few moments. And you can always duck back and watch the replay as well. We just had a good time chatting and all that good stuff as well. So, but yeah, I think we'll go ahead and let Fallon go because she does have to prep for another live. She'll be coming on in just over 30 minutes. So don't go too far. Go get yourself some breakfast, get yourself some coffee, and head over to Fallon's channel at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 7 Pacific, or 8 Mountain.
I'm glad you could figure all this out.
I work in about 7 different time zones. I mean, with my job, I work with people in Canada, people in Europe. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little fuzzy on like most of Asia's time zones, but yeah, anywhere between Europe and Australia coming westbound, I'm pretty good. Good morning, Kelly. It is good to see you. And then yeah, Sharon says the dragon and the metallic Kona would be wild. Yeah, that would be great. And I plan on maybe using some of those colors, but their metallic line is not that big, unfortunately. So, but yeah, doing that in metallics would be fun. I think there's like 10 or 12 colors total in that line. So yeah, I couldn't do a whole dragon on that, but that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll definitely think about doing that, at least part of it as well. So this sounds like a very long Southern goodbye. It happens every week. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. I always love doing these lives, and I appreciate you hopping on with me for a little while, Fallon. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had the same guest on twice this year, which has been amazing. You know, we're almost halfway through the year. So, but yeah, go grab your coffee, go get a little snack, head over to Fallon's in about 30 minutes, and she'll have some fun stuff for you to do as well. And otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow for my podcast. And Fallon will have some cool stuff coming up fairly soon, like she just said. Go check her out. Go if you like what you see, like, subscribe, all that good stuff there. We always love hearing from you guys. It means the absolute world to us. So thank you again for joining us. I hope you all have a good day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. And